Jamleb Sua, welcome to another Realestate.com.kh TV Q&A. Today we're speaking with the chairman of Phnom Penh BG Serviced Offices, Mr. Anthony Galliano, and we're going to learn a little bit more about the office sector in Phnom Penh. So tell us a little bit about BG Serviced Offices.
Okay, so we started BG Serviced Offices in late 2012. Basically, at the time, there was, up to our knowledge, there was no serviced offices in Phnom Penh, although there was a attempt to do it earlier by another business, which I understand wasn't a failure or a success. It just probably wasn't as a prosperous business as expected. But anyway, we saw that the fact that there was no serviced office, so you had a niche immediately. That if you were coming in the market, like if you went into Thailand or you went into Sydney or any major Asian city or European city, and you didn't want to rent a very large office and buy furniture and get your internet and spend this huge capital amount just to start off. The service office business is effectively where you can come in and everything is there for you and you pay a one set monthly fee. So your upfront capital costs are very low. In fact, they're pretty minor, they're nil. But what you have is a higher rent. So you're not only buying, in terms of your lease, you're not only buying a space to rent, but you're also renting furniture, you're getting internet, you're getting electric, you're getting everything combined in a one-off price. So that was a typical model in most major cities where investors who might have wanted to come in had that, but Phnom Penh didn't really have it, or if they did have it, it really wasn't a full service model. So we saw that that niche, and we thought we'd start that business. And I think conceptually, the market took some time to understand the model, but it's actually been a fantastic business. Regus has come in as well to do a higher scale and certainly higher quality model than we do. But the service office business is now a very well-established business in Phnom Penh, I would say, for the last 3 years.
Sure. And in terms of the office space market generally, so we have a little bit of A grade, we have a little bit of B grade, and quite a lot of C grade. How is this changing?
I think the A grade has been a little bit more of a tougher sell, but you're seeing that actually gradually fill up a bit. So there isn't a lot on the market, but I think what's happened with the A grade, from what I've seen, perception-wise, is that they've had to get more realistic on pricing. So the initial pricing for A grade, I think, was a little bit more optimistic than the market was willing to accept. So A grade has begun to see some of that capacity diminish by very much of the economics of lowering the price. So that certainly has been positive for A grade. There's a benchmark being set for pricing levels. B grade, there's again is not a tremendous amount of B grade office space on the market, but it's certainly more affordable, and I think that fills up pretty quick. Again, because there's not a huge amount of capacity in the market. C grade, I think people have sometimes difficulties with what they're actually buying and whether it's going to be workable, because you could go into some office buildings and they'll say, well, you have to put your own air conditioners in, your own fittings in, and perhaps the landlord, because it's a lower level, isn't as generous and a cooperative, attentive as perhaps in the A and B grade space. So there's more, I guess, making sure you certainly have a much better agreement, a tight agreement with your landlord when you're coming into a longer term lease. So for us, we kind of consider ourselves between B and C grade. We're not certainly by any means an A grade. We look at ourselves not as a higher level than a budget hotel, but certainly not a budget hotel. So the thing about a serviced office as well is that you can get spaces that are really for startups, could be as small as 10.5 square meters. So you can't go into an A grade or a B grade or even a C grade, and you won't find somebody that's willing to rent you 10.5 square meters. So that's the benefit of a serviced office. Our biggest room is 46 square meters. Okay. So it kind of competes that I kind of look at serviced offices, and you'd look at per person, you'd probably be looking at about 5 to 7 square meters per person. So if you're in a 10.5 square, you're going to be happy with 2 people. So if you're just coming in, you have an idea, you want to start up a business, you need a business address, and you want a very small office, you could start. I mean, we charge anywhere between $25 to $28 a square meter, depending. So you could effectively come in and have an office for $260. $270, and you get basically the electric, the internet, the furniture included, and even we have coffee, and we have community printers with free paper and free ink. So it's your cost is $260 to start up,
and you have the address to register.
And you have the address to register your business, and you know every month your budget, for the office, for paper, for ink, for the electricity, it's just $260, and that's an amazing thing for a person starting up a business to be able to do that.
Sure. And there's several developers at the moment targeting the office market with what will be strata title office space. What's your thoughts on that for an investor?
This is ownership of offices, right?
Yeah. Someone who...
To me, it's a very strange concept. To me, I mean, even us, we don't even own our own office space. We sublease. So our as a business, our arbitrage is on the difference between what we actually rent and our operating costs versus what we receive in terms of revenue. I don't think I would want to be, as a business owner, because I also own businesses, I wouldn't want to be in a situation where I can't move as easily as a business from one place to another. I don't want to be stuck with owning something as a business in terms of an office in an office building to say I just want to move tomorrow because for whatever reason I'm getting bigger. I think if you're looking at personal ownership, when you own an apartment, you basically make a choice as a family to own an apartment. Now your family is going to grow, so you may just grow out of an apartment. But businesses certainly will, if they're successful, grow out of a space quite quickly. So in a sense, if you merge or you just increase your operation, or for whatever reason those premises aren't suitable for you anymore as a business, which could be many, many, many reasons, as opposed to a family owning an apartment, you don't want to be stuck with owning an asset that you have to pay for effectively, unless you could rent it again or you could sell it. So it becomes an additional business cost or a limitation if you're not able to increase the size of your premises because you're owning. I just find it as most businesses, I think, for at least in my career, businesses tend to stay away from owning real estate.
But for an investor who thinks that there's a shortage, for example, there's a shortage of grade B office space, so they buy a unit, they own it, but then they can start collecting rental returns. Is this realistic?
From what I've seen, I think at least those that are promoting this, the economics of it to me didn't make much sense as a business that would buy to then sublease back. I didn't see the economics yet in a position where I think that would be workable. I think those that are selling the concept are looking for businesses that would actually move in and see it as their premises, and the economics have to make sense as well. That the problem with when you own this, you have your costing out maybe for 20 years because you already know what you're paying for it. So you're not taking advantage of lowering costs that get lower in the market, and you're certainly better off when costs get higher in the market. But the direction for what you see from Phnom Penh is that there's going to be much more office space. So you would hope with the increase in capacity that you'd have lower costs for renting offices.
Yeah.
So my guess would be the economics of owning a piece of office space, which is effectively like a condominium in an office building, because you still have to pay property management fees and so forth, need to improve. Because I've looked at it and it didn't make economic sense to me yet. I'm sure it will. I'm sure everybody comes in with a concept that works at some point. But to me, it's still a foreign concept because businesses generally learn over time, especially if you're in office buildings. Leave it to the specialists that know how to own and rent to businesses. But as a business, owning real estate within an office building, you're probably better off not. That would be my guess.
Okay. Okay, Anthony, thank you very much for,
It's been my pleasure,
for
James.
teaching us a few things. And thank you to all of our viewers. Tune in to Realestate.com.kh TV next week for more great information for buying your next property.